Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving headfirst into a topic that might make some of you reconsider that Kiss Me, I'm American t-shirt. We're talking about the top 10 countries where Americans are, shall we say, not exactly greeted with open arms. And no, this isn't about bad TripAdvisor reviews or lukewarm fries. We're talking about serious diplomatic tensions, travel restrictions that would make a TSA agent blush, and government advisories that scream, don't even think about it. Now, before you start sharpening your pitchforks and dusting off your America Love It or Leave It bumper stickers, let's be clear. This isn't about pointing fingers or fueling xenophobia. It's about understanding the complexities of international relations, the very real consequences of political decisions, and most importantly, keeping you informed and safe. So buckle up, grab your passport, but maybe not your American flag pin. And let's embark on this whirlwind tour of places where your Americanness might be met with a less than enthusiastic welcome. First up, we have North Korea, a country that's about as easy to get into as a Taylor Swift concert with sold-out tickets. And by as easy to get into, I mean nearly impossible, especially if you're American. Severe travel restrictions, a Kafkaesque visa process, and mandatory guided tours. North Korea isn't known for embracing Western ideals. They're still technically at war with us. American tourism in North Korea is like hailing a cab in a hurricane, possible but ill-advised. There are far more welcoming destinations for a vacation. Stick to postcards to experience North Korea. Next on our list is Iran, a country with a rich history and stunning architecture. Its relationship with the United States is more complicated than a season finale of Game of Thrones. Iran isn't off-limits to Americans, but it's not a walk in the park either. Think of it like a tightrope walk over geopolitical tension, with mandatory, pre-arranged tours and extra scrutiny, from the moment you step off the plane. Since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, US-Iran relations have been tense. Iran boasts immense cultural heritage with ancient ruins and breathtaking mosques, and a people known for their hospitality. But that hospitality comes with a caveat for Americans. Be prepared for probing questions and curious stares, and a level of government surveillance that would make even Mark Zuckerberg blush. So, unless you're a seasoned traveler with a penchant for navigating diplomatic minefields and a deep understanding of US-Iran relations, you might want to hold off on booking that ticket to Tehran for now. From the majestic peaks of the Andes to the lush Amazon rainforest, Venezuela boasts a diverse landscape. But its political climate is like a Category 5 hurricane. Relations with the US are stormy, marked by accusations and severed ties. Venezuela faces hyperinflation, food shortages, and high crime rates. Social unrest and protests are common. Postpone your trip to Venezuela for now. Cuba. The land of classic cars, cigar smoke, and a complicated history with the United States that's more tangled than a bowl of Cuban spaghetti. For decades, Cuba was the forbidden fruit for American travelers, a tantalizing island just 90 miles off the coast, yet seemingly a world away. But then a glimmer of hope emerged as relations began to thaw, travel restrictions eased, and Americans flocked to Havana like moths to a mojito-scented flame. But hold your horses, Hemingway enthusiasts, because the Cuban conundrum is far from solved. While travel to Cuba is no longer completely off-limits, it's not exactly a walk in the park either. The rules, regulations, and restrictions surrounding American travel to Cuba have a tendency to change more often than a salsa beat, making it feel like you need a PhD in US-Cuban relations just to book a flight. So what does this mean for you, the intrepid American traveler? Well, it means that while you can still technically visit Cuba, it's not as simple as booking a flight and packing your guayabera. Syria, a country once renowned for its ancient ruins, vibrant culture, and warm hospitality, now stands as a stark reminder of the devastating toll of conflict. Years of brutal civil war have left the country scarred, its people displaced, and its future uncertain. For Americans, the message is clear: Syria is off-limits. The US State Department has issued its highest level of travel warning, urging citizens to avoid all travel to the country. Syria is a war zone, plain and simple. Active conflict zones, terrorist groups, and indiscriminate violence are the harsh realities of daily life. Kidnappings, bombings, and armed clashes are not uncommon, making even the most basic of travel impossible. The Syrian government's control over the country is tenuous at best, and essential services like electricity, water, and healthcare are unreliable or non-existent in many areas. Until peace prevails and stability is restored, Syria remains a no-go zone for Americans and a tragic example of the devastating impact of war. Libya, a North African nation with a rich history, is grappling with political instability and security risks. The US State Department has issued a Level 4 travel advisory, urging citizens to avoid all travel to the country. Libya struggles to emerge from the shadow of revolution and civil war. Armed groups operate with impunity, carrying out kidnappings and bombings. Until stability is restored, Libya remains a destination best admired from afar. Yemen, a country located on the southern tip of the Arabian Peninsula, is a land of ancient history, stunning landscapes, and a rich cultural heritage. However, for much of the past decade, Yemen has been synonymous with conflict, crisis, and unimaginable suffering. For Americans, the message is clear and unwavering. Yemen is off-limits. The US State Department has issued its highest level of travel advisory, urging citizens to avoid all travel to the country. Yemen is engulfed in a brutal civil war, a conflict that has pushed the country to the brink of famine and created one of the world's worst humanitarian crises. Houthi rebels, backed by Iran, are locked in a bitter struggle with the Yemeni government, which is supported by a Saudi-led coalition. The fighting has devastated Yemen, leaving millions displaced. For Americans, the risks in Yemen are extreme. Kidnapping, detention, and being caught in the crossfire are very real possibilities. Until peace is restored and stability returns, Yemen remains a no-go zone for Americans and a stark reminder of the devastating toll of conflict. Afghanistan, a landlocked country nestled in the heart of Central Asia, boasts a history as rich and complex as its rugged mountain terrain. However, decades of conflict, political turmoil, and the recent return of the Taliban to power have left the country shrouded in uncertainty and fraught with danger, particularly for Americans. For US citizens, the message is unequivocal. Afghanistan is off-limits. The US State Department has issued its highest level of travel advisory, urging citizens to avoid all travel to the country. The Taliban's swift takeover of Afghanistan in 2021 sent shockwaves through the international community, raising serious concerns about human rights, security, and the country's future. The security situation in Afghanistan is highly volatile and unpredictable. The Taliban's grip on power remains tenuous, and the potential for violence is a constant threat. For Americans, the risks in Afghanistan are significant and multifaceted. The potential for kidnapping, arbitrary detention, or becoming caught in the crossfire is very real. Until stability is restored, security is assured, and human rights are respected, Afghanistan remains a no-go zone for Americans and a stark reminder of the fragility of peace. Russia, a vast country spanning 11 time zones and encompassing a tapestry of cultures, history, and breathtaking landscapes, has long held a certain mystique for travelers. But in recent years, that mystique has taken on a decidedly chillier tone, particularly for Americans. The relationship between the United States and Russia has been, to put it mildly, a bit frosty. The annexation of Crimea, interference in US elections, and the ongoing conflict in Ukraine have all contributed to a diplomatic deep freeze that has trickled down to impact travel between the two countries. The US State Department has issued a Level 4 travel advisory for Russia, urging citizens to avoid all travel due to the ongoing war in Ukraine and the potential for harassment, detention, and arbitrary enforcement of local law. American travelers in Russia have reported increased scrutiny, interrogations, and even detentions by Russian authorities. The risk of being targeted is a very real concern. So unless you have a burning desire to experience firsthand the joys of Russian bureaucracy, arbitrary detentions, and a legal system that operates more like a Kafka novel, I suggest postponing that trip to Russia for the time being. Belarus, often dubbed Europe's last dictatorship, is ruled by Alexander Lukashenko's regime. For Americans, Belarus presents a unique set of challenges, from political tensions to human rights concerns. The US State Department advises against travel due to risks of arbitrary enforcement and detention. Belarus supports Russia's war against Ukraine, heightening tensions with the West. The Lukashenko regime cracks down on dissent and shows little tolerance for critics. For Americans, the risks in Belarus are real and multifaceted. Detention on trumped-up charges is a very real concern. Admire Belarus from afar until the political winds shift. So, there you have it, folks. A whirlwind tour of 10 destinations where your American passport might not be met with the warmest of welcomes. Remember, the world is a complex and ever-changing place, and staying informed about travel advisories, diplomatic relations, and potential risks is crucial for safe and enjoyable travels. This list isn't meant to discourage exploration or promote fear-mongering. Instead, it's a reminder that responsible travel requires research, awareness, and a healthy dose of caution. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content. Stay safe and travel smart.